The season started off with a lot of hope and promise. I'm sure it must have seemed like a good idea at some point. Something just wasn't right. Nobody really knew where he came from, and nobody really knew where he went.
August in Columbia, Missouri. Young people flocking back to campus. Air conditioners humming, and a new season of Mizzou football is on the horizon.
2017 seemed no different, but deep within the halls of the Missouri Athletic Department offices, a decision was being made that would alter the course of history forever. There's a lot of pressure on Division I athletic programs to entertain. Football tickets are expensive, HD TV, it's better than ever. There's no guarantee the team will actually be a draw. Programs have to come up with ideas on how to engage fans. This was likely born out of desperation at the end of the day. That can evoke brilliant ideas. Waltz was not one of those.
Waltz, the Inflatable Tiger mascot, was introduced to Mizzou fans on September the 2nd, 2017. Envisioned as an affable partner for the beloved Truman the Tiger, Waltz was assigned the task of dancing in the south end zone, while Marching Mizzou played the traditional performance of the Missouri Waltz.
We could tell right away something wasn't right. He waddled out there, he wasn't introduced, no one knew who he was or what he was about, and then he just fell.
In the middle of Waltz's first outing on that autumn day, the new mascot did something that no one in the stadium expected. He collapsed onto the turf and started gyrating. It seemed just for a moment that he might right himself, but to the horror of thousands of onlookers, Waltz kept writhing.
Someone should have done something. It quickly became a spectacle and, frankly, a distraction.
Fans were not the only ones to take notice. The Mizzou team itself seemed shaken by what had transpired on the field. Missouri State was an FCS opponent whom the Tigers were expected to beat easily. But, in the wake of Waltz's display, Mizzou allowed its opponent to rack up 43 points and 353 yards of offense.
Did it have an effect on the team? Sure. How could it not? I mean, come on. We're trying to concentrate on the big game, and you got this perverted beach ball out there doing that on the field? You can unsee that.
The media also took notice of what happened on Faroe Field that day, and the mockery came fast. Perhaps no one was as critical as sports writer Joel Walljipper.
Was I hard on Waltz? Yeah. But I think I was just saying what everybody else in Columbia was already thinking. Waltz and his antics were not welcome.
Despite the disaster that took place during that home opener, the new inflatable mascot would be given another chance. The following week, Missouri hosted South Carolina, and once again, Waltz was given the opportunity to perform.
After that first game, I think a lot of people were rattled by it, but I also think a lot of Tiger fans were willing to give him a second chance. I liked Waltz. I don't know what all the hoopla was about. He bounced around, he was jolly. Did he terrify some children? Probably. But what mascot worth his salt hasn't at some point? Was he profane? Only if you have your mind in the gutter. Or if you're familiar with the human act of lovemaking.
To the dismay of those in attendance, many of whom were rooting for a comeback for their new mascot, Waltz once again went to the ground.
It was a disaster. Everyone in the south end zone was mortified. I even saw South Carolina fans covering their eyes. It wasn't right.
Waltz's repeat performance would have devastating results. Mizzou were blown out that day on the football field. The team was rattled, fans left early, and important people within the program took notice.
Hey man, that wasn't our team out there that day. That wasn't the Missouri Tigers. Could we have done some things differently with our game plan? Sure we could have. But I don't think I'm making excuses when I say it was that plastic tiger that changed the course of that game.
Just 2 weeks into the season, the Tigers sat 1-1 with 2 uninspiring performances. The team was in disarray, the fans were disgusted, and a Mizzou legend was demoralized.
I've never seen anything like it. I've devoted my life to entertaining these fans. When I first met Waltz, to be perfectly honest, it felt like a slap in the face. I thought they were trying to put old Truman out to pasture. But after what he did, I wasn't worried about me anymore. I was worried about the team, and the fans, and the children.
I came at Waltz pretty hard after that game. There was no excuse for what he was doing. I called it a seizure, but really it was something worse than that. Somebody needed to put a stop to it. And I guess somebody did.
Missouri's next home game was against a middling Purdue team. At the outset of the season, most had predicted the Tigers to roll to an easy win, but after what had happened the previous 2 weeks, the outcome was anyone's guess.
Everybody was on pins and needles. We all knew what was coming. A lot of people, frankly, just didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be a part of it.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. The guys in the locker room were a wreck. All anybody could talk about was Waltz and its inflatable doll. I don't even think we knew we were supposed to play that day. Hey man, it's hard to motivate a team when you've got something like that hanging over your head. These guys weren't ready to play.
The Tigers were rudderless that day. The specter of Waltz hovered over Faurot Field like the sword of Damocles. And while Mizzou's fate was sealed before the kickoff, the ultimate fate of Waltz was far more mysterious.
He just didn't show up. Something just wasn't right.
Waltz always came out at the end of the third quarter while the band played, but I could see from the sideline during the Purdue game. The band, they played the state song, but the south end zone, it was empty.
Where had Waltz gone? Had the endless barrage of criticism finally become too much? Was he sick that day? Was he fired? Or did something more sinister happen?
One missed game could be anything. When he missed again and again, we all started to worry.
Rumors flew around Columbia. What had happened to the embattled balloon? He had shown such confidence in his first 2 outings. Waltz did not seem like that kind of a person, creature, anthropomorphic jungle cat, just to give up. But if someone did do something to Waltz, who was it? His list of enemies seemed endless.
Look, everybody knows I didn't have very many nice things to say about Waltz, but it's a sports writer's job to report what he sees on the field. For anyone to suggest that I had something to do with his disappearance, that's just ridiculous.
Was I intimidated by Waltz? Yes. Did I approve of his antics? No way. Did I think he was hurting the team I love so dearly? Absolutely. Did I hate him? I think that's fair to say. But did I kill him? No way.
Suspicion spread far beyond the borders of sleepy Columbia, Missouri. What Waltz had been doing had ruffled feathers across college football.
That thing was an obvious knockoff. It's like he stole my whole playbook. Flailing his arms like a T-Rex? Mine. Waddle around the end zone with a disturbing frozen smile on his face? Mine. Bouncing up and down on his head, causing obvious severe brain damage? I invented all that stuff. That guy was a total ripoff. I had no reason to take him out, though. Everybody knew he was a hack.
Feelings around Columbia were mixed. While fans were ill at ease knowing something tragic may have befallen Waltz, not having to worry about what he might do during the games gave a new spark to the fan base and the players.
If I'm perfectly honest, I think people quit looking into it once the team started winning. Sure, any killer should be brought to justice, but without the distractions Walt brought to that field, it was like the town was free again. The investigation is still open. Do we have every officer working day and night on the case? No, we don't. This isn't the only crime in town, but we look into every call and we get a lot of them. I stand by the work we did. The work we're doing.
Internet message boards continue to light up with reported Waltz sightings and theories about his mysterious disappearance. Did he skip town to avoid child support on his many illegitimate automotive airbag children? Did he take on new work as a weather balloon? Or was he deflated?
All I know is that the Mizzou Tigers made it to a bowl game. And frankly, we'd have gotten there a lot sooner if it wasn't for that damn balloon tiger. I don't miss him. There, I said it.
Well, things seem back to normal again. But there were times
I look back at that south end zone and think how things might have been different. Maybe if I'd tried a little harder to extend an olive branch. Maybe if he wasn't thrust into the limelight so soon, before he was ready. I don't think we'll ever know.
It could have been anything. He could have run. He could have gotten snagged on barbed wire. This is an agricultural state, but if somebody did do something to Waltz the mascot, I don't feel the least bit guilty in saying he got what's coming to him. And I think Mizzou fans in their heart of hearts would agree with that. Bye, Felicia.